Big executives say, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't do it on purpose, but if you fail, don't beat yourself up over it, because you learn from it, and keep doing the same blasted thing over and over again, then you got something wrong. Then you got to really do some serious evaluation. But guess what fear the Israelites had? It's called Phi-phobia. They feared the giants of Philistines. That's kind of well, the guy who did this sermon, he had that one in there. You know, it's because the main thing, they were focused on the giant. They were focused on the giants they had on the Philistines. And if, the Philistines, of course, are arch enemies of the Israelites. And they gathered for battle. If we look at verse 3, we'll just go ahead and start down verse 3. The Philistines occupied one hill, and the Israelites another, with a valley between them. It's kind of interesting. You got this hill here, got a big valley down there. But you know what? Neither one really wanted to go to the valley, did they? Did they want to go to the valley?
No.
And that's where your fear is. That's where you become vulnerable. You know, we don't like to go down the valley either, do we? Our spiritual battles that we're dealing with. Because, you know, the valley is a place where we got to face our fears. But if you, for those of you who want to confront your fears today, I would just like to invite you to walk with me down to the valley, and I want to share 6 strategies. 6 strategies I'm going to have that's going to help. Take a look at our first strategy here is describe your fear. Look at verses 4 through 7. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, or Gath, however you pronounce that, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels, about 125 pounds. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, or a fence post, sort of like. And the iron point weighed 600 shekels, which is approximately 15 pounds. That's a big spear, isn't it? It's a huge spear. His shield bearer went ahead of him. He had someone carrying his shield for him. And, well, you figure the size of this guy. Now, you know how tall Shaquille O'Neal is, about 7'6", right? That's pretty tall, these basketball players. Well, he was about 9'9". This guy was. That's about what that division was, 9'9". So Goliath can actually look over the top of this roof outside, stand outside and look on the roof. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? That's one big dude. His armor weighed 125 pounds. You know, he was well armed with that body armor, that big old spear, shield. Probably the sword would have been humongous too. You know what? Satan's also pretty well armed too. Our enemy is our giant. Satan knows our fears. He's going to arm himself accordingly. I mean, who here would bring a pencil to a gunfight? That'd be kind of a dumb move to make, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Now look at verses 8 through 10. Now Elias stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, why do you come out and line up for battle? I'm not a Philistine, and you are not the true servants of Saul. Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we would become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you'll become our subjects and serve us. Then the Philistines said, this day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. Now, we look at that. He was in a torment. We've all had that. I mean, if we have younger brothers or even older brothers that says, torment them, you know, that type of thing, tease them, egging them on, irritating them. You know, we have a, you know, we look at this, in verse 10, you know, picture, see the word defy 6 times in there. It means to taunt, ridicule, humiliate. They had challenged the Philistines when, you know, yes, the Israelites won, the Philistines would surrender. You know, the problem is no one wanted to face their fear. Nobody wanted to face the giant. The Bible tells us in verse 11 they were terrified. And hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites are dismayed and terrified. I mean, it's scary going against something big. I played football when I was in high school. You know, first they put me as tailback. You know, and I told them when you get in the games to get your tailback on that bench. And then they put me on a defensive line. And that was something else. I was about maybe 140 pounds. And I was going against guys maybe about Robert's size. So you talk about facing your giants. You know, but you know, guess what? The giant isn't going away. Just like our giant that we got to face in our lives. It's not going away. It's going down to verse 16. And help me turn the page, I'd get the right verse. Come on, got the coolers blowing my pages around. For 40 days, the Philistine came forward every morning and every evening and took his stand. You know, we have, so in other words, he came out for 40 days, that was 80 times total he came out. So they would step up to the plate or run away. We go down to verse 24, it'll tell us, whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. Now, why did they run away so quickly? Pretty much, this one little thing is called intimidation. We believe the object that makes us so afraid is so much worse than it really is. And we have it in our mind that we have already lost the battle before it even started. So, a good question is, what's your fear? What's overwhelming you? What intimidates you? Now here's a good, important principle this guy has. I like this little saying. When we focus on our giants, we will stumble. When we focus on God, our giants tumble. Our giant tumbles down. Point two, we need to change our perspective. There's a guy named Haddon Robinson once said that in any situation determines what you are determines what you see. What you see determines what you do. That's called perspective. Everyone else thought Goliath was too big to hit. You know what was neat about David? David thought he was too big to miss. I mean, you figure, okay, I can't miss this guy. He's big. You know, a lot of us deal with our fears based on how we view ourselves. We focus on the giant. We focus too much on the problem. It's going to defeat us. We need to overcome pressures from others. Peer pressure. Okay. David arrives on day 40. You know, he probably had enough of this guy. The giant's bragging and cursing. In verse 25, now the Israelites have been saying, do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to a man who kills him. He will also give his daughter in marriage, and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel. Yeah, it's kind of a good bribery technique, I guess, for that time. You know, whoever kills the giants can get a lot of money. You can get the king's daughter and amnesty for no taxes that year. Now, there was a pressure that's involved. You get this thing, and that's the pressure. David's older brother became angry. He became angry. He tells David to go back home and hang out with the sheep. Go hang out with the sheep, man. Verse 28 tells us when Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with men, he burned with anger at him and asked, why have you come down here? And with whom did you have those few sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle. I guess David's probably thinking, guess again. Yeah. You know, you start to overcome there's one problem. When you start to overcome your fear, your giant, that you're going to be criticized. Many times, will be those who are closest to you. But David responds in verse 29. Now what have I done, said David. Can I even speak? Then he turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter. The men answered him as before. David said to Saul, let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go fight him. In other words, I'm going to go after him, Jack. Well, Saul says, go for it. Offered David armor, but of course that didn't fit him. He's small. You can't fight your giant in your life with somebody else's solution. What might work for somebody else is not going to work for everybody, okay? Simple as they think they got that one-size-fits-all solution. And it doesn't quite work that way. Some of us might have to ride the storm out a little bit harder. That leads us to another one here, is to get prepared. You don't want to go out to battle without any weaponry. At this point in the story, David, we're introduced to David. He's the youngest of 8 boys who've been taking care of sheep. David believes in preparation. In his past, he had already killed a lion and already killed a bear. He's probably thinking, what can one dude in some little bit of armor do? I'd kill bigger than that. That's kind of adding on to that, because that's probably what he's thinking. I don't know, that's probably what I'd have been thinking. We look at verse 37. The Lord will rescue me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear, will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. Saul said to David, go, and the Lord be with you. See, David had a good weapon. He had the ultimate weapon. He had God. Go ahead. When you're facing your fears, draw from your past. You've had your past success that you had that God's done, how He's got you through a battle. David's 3 oldest brothers were at the battlefield. His father Jesse wants to report on how they're doing. Wants to send some supplies. He sends David to deliver 5 pounds of grain, 10 loaves of bread, and 10 chunks of cheese. On top of that, he ran all the way from Bethlehem to the valley of Elah, 18 miles. Well, that's a good runner, because I can't even run 18 feet. He was faithful. He was prepared. If we look at verse 20, according to verse 20, he left the sheep in the care of another shepherd. Okay, he had somebody else watching the sheep. He didn't just leave them out there on their own. But he's got to be proactive now. Don't procrastinate. That's the old saying, maybe tomorrow I'll quit procrastinating. David made a decision, I must do something now. So he picked up what was familiar to him. A lot of us use what's familiar to us, right? Different aspects, different things. 5 smooth stones, and a staff, and a slingshot. Smooth stones will fly better. And get that thing spin around, and he'll take up and he'll fly straight. They fly a lot better. So when you skip rocks in the water, you want smooth stones to make them skip. You want to why 5 stones? Well, in case he missed. He also knew Goliath had 4 brothers. A rock has been known to travel a speed over 100 miles an hour. Can actually kill someone. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? I mean, it makes you wonder about these baseball games when you see a batter getting hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
Those tend to hurt. Now here comes the big part of it now. We got to proclaim God's name. We look at verse 43. He said to David, I am a dog that you come at me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. He said, come here, he said, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with a sword and a spear and javelin, but I come at you, I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. I will strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass to the Philistine army and to the birds of the wild and the animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. You get a see, now we got something really interesting. It's like you get into a dog fight thing, somebody brings in a Rottweiler and you bring in a little Chihuahua. More than likely that Chihuahua is going to be a snack for that Rottweiler. Or better way of putting it up, has anybody here ever watched the horse race and seen the jockeys? Most of them are real little guys. They're maybe about 110 pounds. It's kind of like pitting a jockey against a sumo wrestler. It'd be about the same weight difference, I guess. You know, the size difference. You know, we got to get the idea. Goliath stands there and taunts David. He's going to feed him to the birds, and David puts God into the picture. That's a game changer right there. And David described what he was going to do to Goliath. Now, this is a matter of focus. No one else has mentioned God up to this point. David sees something no one else sees and refuses, and he refuses to see what everyone else does see. He makes 2 statements about Goliath. He makes 9 statements about God. So what's a good point here to take away on this? You should talk more about your solution than more about your less about your problem. No, by the way, David did kill Goliath. Gave him a headache first. Dropped him to the ground. Cut his head off. Carried it around on his sword. Goliath kept it for display. It was kind of a custom back then for them to do that. That's kind of, because anyway, it's a good thing we live in a more civilized society. Fortunately, there's some countries, they still do a lot of that. Yeah. But, you know, what makes, when did Goliath die? I was wondering if he died when he got hit with a rock, or when he cut his head off. But either way, maybe when the stone hit him, it was when he picked up the 5 smooth stones. But we told Goliath he was going, what he's going to do. It was close. Goliath was, we looked at verse 40, Goliath was dead when we, you know, look at verse 40, and he approaches the giant. Faith is, what are my notes here? Faith is not talking about the giant. Faith isn't talking about your problem. We can all do that. We can all whine and complain about our problems, and you know, a lot of people spend a lifetime doing that stuff. Talk about problems and challenges. You know what faith is? When we take that first step, that's when we defeat our giants. You just got to come charging at them. You know, when you don't know what to do, just take the next step. God's going to guide you in that step, isn't He? I mean, I don't know what the 3rd step, 4th, 5th, but just keep taking those steps. God's already there. He's already got your back. But like they said in the military, they got your 6. He's got your back in there. He's gonna. It's like the fighter planes. They have this AWACS plane that's up there usually spots all these enemies. You know, until you got a tango at 3 o'clock coming in at you. God's like that. He's gonna hit the tangos. He's gonna get them. We're gonna get Robbie.